Amplified Bible, YouVersion app, Classic Edition. AMPC. Judges 3. Now these are the nations which the Lord left to prove Israel by them. That is, all in Israel who had not previously experienced war in Canaan. It was only that the generations of the Israelites might not know and be taught war, at least those who previously knew nothing of it. The remaining nation are the 5 lords of the Philistines, all the Canaanites, the Sidonians, and the Hivites, who dwelt on Mount Lebanon from Mount Palermo to the entrance of Hamath. They were for the testing and proving of Israel to know whether Israel would listen and obey the commandments of the Lord, which he commanded their fathers by Moses. And the Israelites dwelt among the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, and they married their daughters and gave their own daughters to their sons, and served their gods. And the Israelites did evil in the sight of the Lord, and forgot the Lord their God, and served the Baal and the Ashtaroth. So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he sold them into the hand of Jeshon-Racham, king of Mesopotamia. And the Israelites served Cushan-Thaim 8 years. But when the Israelites cried to the Lord raised up a deliverer for the people of Israel to deliver them, Othniel, son of Kenaz, Caleb, younger brother. The Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he judged Israel. He went out to war, and the Lord delivered Cushan, or Resthaim, king of Mesopotamia, into his hand, and his hand prevailed over Cushan-Rithmaim. The land had rest for 40 years, and Othniel, son of Kenaz, died. And the Israelites again did evil in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord strengthened Eglon, king of Moab, against Israel, because they had done what was evil in the sight of the Lord. And Eglon gathered him the men of Mem and Amalek, and went to smote Israel, and they possessed the city of palm trees, Jericho. And the Israelites served Eglon, king of Moab, 18 years. But when the Israelites cried to the Lord raised them up a deliverer, Ehud, son of Ger, a Benjamite, a left-handed man, and by him the Israelites sent tribute to Eglon, king of Moab. Ehud made him for himself a sword, a cubit long, which had 2 edges, and he girded it on his right thigh under his clothing. And he brought the tribute to Eglon, king of Moab. Now Eglon was a very fat man. And when Ehud had finished presenting tribute, he sent away the people who had carried it. He himself went with them as far as the sculptured boundary stones near Gilgal, and then turned back and came to Eglon and said, I have a secret errand to you. O king of Eglon, commanded silence, and all who stood by him went out from him. When Ehud had come near to him, as he was sitting alone in the cool upper apartment, Ehud said, I have a commission from God to execute to you. And the king arose from his seat. Then Ehud put forth his left hand and took the sword from his right thigh and thrust it in Eglon's belly. And the hilt also went in after the blade, and the fat closed upon the blade. For Ehud did not draw the sword out of his belly, and the dirt came out. Then Ehud went out in the vestibule and shut the doors of the upper room upon Eglon, and locked them. Then Ehud had gone out, Eglon's servants came, and when he saw the door of the upper room were locked, they thought, surely he is seeking privacy while he relieves himself in the closet of the cold chamber. They waited a long time until they became embarrassed and uneasy. But when he still did not open the doors in the upper room, they took the key, opened them. There lay their master, fallen on the floor dead. Ehud escaped while they delayed and passed beyond the sculptured boundary stones, images, and escaped to Seir. When he arrived, he blew a trumpet, and in the hill country of Ephraim, and the Israelites went down from the hill country with him at their head. And he said to them, "Follow me, for the Lord has delivered your enemies to the Moabites into your hand." So they went down after him and seized the fords of the Jordan against the Moabites and permitted not a man to pass over. They slew at that time about 10,000 Moabites, all strong, courageous men. Not a man escaped. So Moab was subdued that day under the hand of Israel, and the land had peace and rest for 80 years. After Ehud was Shamgar, son of Anath, who slew 600 Philistines, men with the ox goad. He also delivered Israel.